Dr. Amelia Frost peered through the viewfinder of her atmospheric analyzer, squinting against the harsh orange glare of the alien sun. The desolate landscape of Kepler 186 outstretched before her, a sea of rust-colored sand and jagged rock formations. She'd volunteered for this solo mission to study the planet's potential for terraforming, but after 3 weeks alone, the isolation was starting to wear on her. A sudden beep from her wrist computer broke the eerie silence. Amelia frowned, tapping the screen to bring up the alert. "Unusual biosignature detected," she read aloud, her heart rate quickening. Finally, something interesting. Following the signal, Amelia trudged through the loose sand, her heavy exosuit wearing with each step. As she crested a hill, she froze, her breath catching in her throat. In the valley below lay a creature unlike anything she'd ever seen. It was massive, easily the size of an elephant, with iridescent scales that shimmered in shades of purple and green. 6 limbs sprawled awkwardly on the ground, and a long, sinuous neck ended in a head adorned with multiple eyes and strange, feathery appendages. But what caught Amelia's attention was the creature's obvious distress. It thrashed weakly, letting out low, mournful sounds that made her chest tighten with empathy. "Easy there, big guy," Amelia murmured, approaching cautiously. The creature's eyes, all 12 of them, swiveled to focus on her. She expected fear or aggression, but instead saw only pain and a spark of intelligence that took her breath away. As she drew closer, Amelia saw the problem. A jagged piece of metallic rock, common to this region of the planet, had embedded itself deep in one of the creature's limbs. The wound was angry and swollen, leaking a viscous blue fluid that she assumed was its blood. "You poor thing," Amelia said softly. "That's got to hurt like hell." The creature made a sound somewhere between a whimper and a growl, but didn't move to attack her. Amelia's scientific mind raced. This was an unprecedented opportunity to study an alien life form up close. But more than that, her human compassion wouldn't let her leave a suffering being, no matter how strange, without trying to help. "Okay," she said, more to herself than the alien. "Let's see what we can do about this." Amelia knelt beside the injured limb, a mind already formulating a plan. The exosuit's built-in medical kit wasn't designed for xenobiology, but she'd have to make do. As she reached for the first aid compartment, the creature suddenly tensed, letting out a high-pitched keen that made her ears ring even through her helmet. "Sure, it's okay," Amelia soothed, holding up her hands. "I'm not going to hurt you. I want to help." To her amazement, the alien seemed to understand. It relaxed slightly, though its eyes remained fixed on her every move. Slowly, carefully, Amelia extracted a pair of sterile forceps and a canister of universal coagulant spray from her med kit. "This might sting a bit," she warned, gripping the metallic shard with the forceps. "But I promise it'll feel better once it's out." With a swift, sure motion, Amelia pulled the shard free. The creature roared, its entire body convulsing. She quickly sprayed the wound with coagulant, praying it would work on alien physiology. To her relief, the blue blood flow began to slow. "There we go," Amelia said, her voice shaky with adrenaline. "All done." The alien's eyes blinked in rapid succession. Then, to Amelia's astonishment, it slowly extended one of its uninjured limbs toward her. At the end was an appendage reminiscent of a hand, with 3 long flexible digits. Acting on instinct, Amelia reached out and gently grasped it with her gloved hand. A jolt of electricity seemed to pass between them. Amelia gasped as her mind was suddenly flooded with alien sensations and emotions. Gratitude, curiosity, and a deep, aching loneliness washed over her. In that moment, she understood that this creature was as alone on this planet as she was. "You're welcome," Amelia whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm Amelia. I guess we're both a long way from home, huh?" The alien made a soft trilling sound that she somehow knew meant agreement. As that strange connection faded, Amelia found herself grinning. Her mission had just gotten a lot more interesting. "Well, my new friend," she said, patting the creature's scaly hide. "I've got about 1,000,000 questions for you. But first, let's see about getting you back on your feet. Limbs." As the alien struggled to rise, Amelia positioned herself to support its massive form. Together, human and alien, they began an unlikely partnership that would change the course of both their lives, and perhaps the future of interstellar relations itself. Little did Amelia know, as she helped her new alien friend to stand, that this encounter was just the beginning of an adventure beyond her wildest dreams. The desolate plains of Kepler 186 are stretched before them, holding untold dangers and marvels. But with human ingenuity and alien strength combined, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the alien creature steadied itself on its 6 limbs, Amelia stepped back to observe. The being towered over her, its iridescent scales catching the orange sunlight in a mesmerizing display. Despite its impressive size, there was a gentleness in its movements that put Amelia at ease. "So," Amelia said, her scientist's mind kicking into high gear, "I suppose we should figure out how to communicate." She tapped her wrist computer, pulling up a rudimentary translation program she'd been developing. "Let's give this a shot." The alien tilted its head, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. It made a series of clicks and warbles that Amelia's program struggled to interpret. After a moment, fragmented words appeared on her screen. Gratitude, help, name. Amelia's heart raced with excitement. "My name is Amelia," she said slowly, gesturing to herself. "Do you have a name?" The creature made a sound like wind chimes in a breeze. The translator struggled again before displaying. "Zexlith, name, approximation." "Zexlith," Amelia repeated, stumbling over the alien phonemes. "It's nice to meet you, Zexlith. I'm from a planet called Earth. Are you from around here?" Zexlith's response came as a mixture of sounds and subtle color changes in its scales. The translator worked overtime. "Not home. Lost, ship crashed, alone." Amelia's heart went out to the creature. "You're stranded here too." "Well, misery loves company, I suppose. My research station is about 1 kilometer from here. Why don't you come with me? We can figure this out together." As they set off across the barren landscape, Amelia couldn't help but marvel at the strange turns her mission had taken. She'd come to Kepler 186 to study its atmosphere, and now she was escorting a giant alien back to her base. The scientific implications alone were staggering. Their progress was slow, with Zexlith still favoring its injured limb. As they walked, Amelia kept up a steady stream of chatter, partly to distract the alien from its pain, and partly out of sheer excitement. "You know, Zexlith, you're rewriting everything we thought we knew about alien life," she said, gesturing animatedly. "Your physiology, your ability to communicate, it's incredible. I have so many questions. Where are you from? How did you end up here? What's your society like?" Zexlith's translated responses were fragmented but fascinating. Amelia learned that it came from a distant star system, part of a peaceful, spacefaring civilization. Its ship had malfunctioned, forcing an emergency landing on Kepler 186f. The rest of the crew hadn't survived the crash. As Zexlith shared its story, Amelia felt a deepening connection to the alien. Despite their vast differences, they were both explorers, both scientists in their own right, both stranded on this inhospitable world. Finally, they crested a hill, and Amelia's research station came into view. It was a modest structure, essentially a high-tech tent designed to withstand the planet's harsh conditions. "Home sweet home," Amelia said with a wry smile. "It's not much, but it's got food, water, and a pretty decent med bay. We'll get you fixed up properly." As they approached the station, Amelia's wrist computer suddenly blared an alarm. She glanced at the screen, her face paling. "Uh-oh, looks like we've got company, and not the friendly kind." On the horizon, a dust cloud was rapidly approaching. As it drew nearer, Amelia could make out several low-slung predatory shapes racing towards them. They looked like a cross between Earth's velociraptors and giant scorpions, with razor-sharp pincers and barbed tails. "Inside, quick," Amelia shouted, punching in the access code to her station. The door slid open with agonizing slowness. Zixlith let out a series of rapid clicks, its scales flashing in patterns Amelia interpreted as alarm. It positioned itself between Amelia and the oncoming threat, its massive body a living shield. "No, Zixlith," Amelia cried. "You're injured. You can't fight them." But the alien stood its ground. As the predators closed in, Zixlith's feathery head appendages began to glow with an eerie blue light. Suddenly, a shockwave of energy burst from the alien, sending the attackers tumbling backwards. Amelia stared in awe. "Okay, that was pretty cool, but let's not push our luck." She tugged gently on one of Zixlith's limbs. "Come on, inside." They managed to squeeze into the station just as the predators regrouped. Amelia sealed the door behind them, breathing a sigh of relief as she heard claws scrabbling uselessly against the reinforced exterior. "Well," she said, turning to her alien companion, "that was exciting. Thanks for the save out there. I guess we make a pretty good team." Zixlith's scales rippled in a pattern that Amelia was beginning to recognize as the alien equivalent of a smile. Its translated response appeared on her screen. "Friends, protect each other." Amelia felt a warmth spread through her chest. "Friends," she agreed. "I like the sound of that." As the adrenaline of her close call faded, Amelia began to truly process the enormity of the situation. She had made first contact with an intelligent alien species. She had brought that alien into her research station. And now they were going to have to work together to survive on this dangerous planet and find a way home. Amelia looked up at Zixlith, who was curiously examining the station's equipment with its many eyes. "Well, my friend," she said with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, "I think this is the beginning of a beautiful, if completely bizarre, friendship. Now, let's see about getting that wound of yours properly treated, and then we've got a whole new universe to figure out." As she led Zixlith to the med bay, Amelia's mind raced with possibilities. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that together they stood a fighting chance. Human ingenuity and alien abilities united against the unknown, it was going to be one hell of an adventure. The next few days passed in a whirlwind of activity. Amelia threw herself into treating Zixlith's injury, studying alien biology, and improving her translation program. For its part, Zixlith proved to be an eager student of human culture and technology, its multiple eyes wide with curiosity as Amelia explained everything from the basics of Earth history to the intricacies of her research equipment. On the morning of the fourth day, Amelia woke to find Zixlith hunched over her computer terminal, its appendages dancing across the keys with surprising dexterity. "What are you up to, big guy?" Amelia asked, stifling a yawn. Zixlith's scales flickered in excitement as it turned to her. The translator, now much improved, conveyed its response, triangulating crash site. "Ship has emergency beacon, maybe still functional." Amelia's eyes widened. "You think we could use your ship to get off this rock?" "Possible," Zixlith replied. "If repairable. Need to investigate." Amelia nodded, her mind already racing with plans. "Well then, I guess we're going on a road trip. Let me just pack some supplies." Within an hour, they were ready to set out. Amelia had loaded her exosuit with as much food, water, and equipment as she could carry. She'd also jury-rigged a makeshift harness for Zixlith, allowing the alien to carry additional supplies. As they stepped out of the research station, Amelia couldn't help but feel a twinge of anxiety. The harsh landscape of Kepler 186 stretched before them, full of unknown dangers. But when she glanced up at Zixlith, seeing determination in its multifaceted eyes, she felt her resolve strengthen. "All right, partner," she said with a grin. "Lead the way." They set off across the rust-colored plains, Zixlith using its innate sense of direction to guide them. Amelia kept a wary eye out for the predators they'd encountered earlier, but the creatures seemed to be avoiding the odd pair. As they walked, Amelia peppered Zixlith with questions about its home world and species. She learned that Zixlith's people, the Quinori, were a peaceful race of explorers and scientists. They had achieved interstellar travel centuries ago and had been mapping the galaxy ever since. "So what brought you to this particular corner of space?" Amelia asked. Zixlith's response came slowly, as if it were choosing its words carefully. "Searching for something. Ancient artifact, great power, could change everything." Amelia's curiosity piqued. What kind of artifact? Before Zixlith could answer, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Amelia stumbled, caught off guard by the sudden quake. "What the?" Her words were cut off as the earth split open, revealing a yawning chasm. Amelia felt herself falling, a scream torn from her throat. But then Zixlith's limbs wrapped around her, pulling her close as they plummeted into darkness. They landed with a bone-jarring thud, Zixlith's body cushioning Amelia's fall. As the dust settled, Amelia activated her suit's lights, illuminating their surroundings. They were in a vast underground cavern, its walls glittering with strange, bioluminescent fungi. But what caught Amelia's attention was the structure at the center of the cavern. It looked like a temple of some sort, its architecture unlike anything she'd ever seen. "Zixlith," she breathed, "are you seeing this?" The alien's scales were pulsing with an intense blue light. Its translated response sent a shiver down Amelia's spine. "Artifact, here. We found it." As they approached the temple, Amelia's scientific mind went into overdrive. The structure was clearly artificial, yet it seemed to have grown organically from the cavern floor. Symbols unlike any she'd ever seen were etched into its surface, glowing faintly. "This is incredible," Amelia murmured, running her gloved hand over the symbols. "But how do we get in?" As if in response to her touch, the symbols began to pulse with light. A doorway materialized in the smooth surface of the temple, sliding open with a soft hiss. Zixlith made a sound that Amelia's translator couldn't quite capture, something between awe and trepidation. "Caution," it said. "Power, unpredictable, dangerous." Amelia nodded, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and fear. "Noted, but we've come this far. We can't turn back now." Together, human and aliens stepped into the ancient structure. The air inside was thick with the weight of eons, and Amelia felt as if unseen eyes were watching their every move. At the center of the temple stood a pedestal, and upon it rested a small, unassuming cube. It pulsed with a soft, multicolored light that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality around it. "Is that it?" Amelia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The artifact you were looking for?" Zixlith's response was solemn. "Yes, key to unlocking secrets of universe, but also weapon of unimaginable power. In wrong hands, catastrophic." Amelia's mind reeled with the implications. "So what do we do now?" Before Zixlith could answer, a new voice echoed through the temple, a voice that was definitely not human, nor Quinari. "Now," it said, the words somehow translating directly in Amelia's mind, "you hand over the artifact, or you die." Amelia and Zixlith spun around to face the newcomer. Standing in the doorway was a being that defied description, a swirling mass of tentacles and eyes, shimmering with barely contained energy. Amelia's hand instinctively went to her side, where she kept a small plasma pistol for emergencies. But she knew, somehow, that conventional weapons would be useless against this entity. Zixlith moved protectively in front of Amelia, its scales flashing in patterns she'd never seen before. The alien's translated words appeared on her screen. "Run. Take artifact. I'll hold it off." Amelia's heart clenched. She couldn't leave a friend behind. But as the entity began to advance, tendrils of dark energy crackling around it, she realized they were out of options. With a silent prayer, Amelia snatched the artifact from its pedestal. The cube pulsed in her hand, filling her with a strange electric energy. "Sixlith," she shouted. "Whatever you're going to do, do it now." As the alien unleashed another shockwave of energy, momentarily stunning their attacker, Amelia clutched the artifact to her chest and ran. She didn't know where she was going or what she would do next, but she knew one thing for certain. Their journey was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Amelia's feet pounded against the cavern floor as she ran, the artifact clutched tightly to her chest. Its pulsing energy seemed to synchronize with her racing heartbeat. Behind her, she could hear the sounds of conflict, Sixlith's low, resonant hum clashing with the otherworldly shrieks of their attacker. Come on," Amelia muttered, her eyes darting around for an escape route. The cavern seemed endless, its bioluminescent walls a blur as she sprinted past. Suddenly, a new sound cut through the chaos, a high-pitched whine that made Amelia's teeth ache. A portal of swirling energy materialized in front of her, and before she could stop, she plunged through it. For a moment, Amelia felt as if she were being turned inside out, her very atoms scattered across space and time. Then, just as abruptly, she was whole again, stumbling onto solid ground. She blinked, disoriented by the sudden change in her surroundings. Gone was the dark cavern, replaced by a sterile metallic chamber. Sleek consoles lined the walls, their displays flickering with alien script. "Where am I?" Amelia wondered aloud, her voice echoing in the empty room. "You are aboard the Nexus," a melodious voice answered, startling her. "And you, little human, have caused quite a stir in the cosmic order." Amelia whirled around, coming face to face with yet another alien being. This one was humanoid in shape, but its skin shimmered like liquid metal, and its eyes were pools of swirling galaxies. "Who are you?" Amelia demanded, clutching the artifact closer. "And where's Sixlith?" The being's lips curved into what might have been a smile. "I am Varax, keeper of the Nexus. As for your Quilnari friend, it should be arriving right about." Another portal opened, and Sixlith tumbled through, its scales flashing in distress. "Now, Varax finished." "Sixlith," Amelia cried, running to her friend's side. "Are you okay? What happened?" The alien's translator crackled to life. "Escaped. Barely. Entity. Powerful. Seeking artifact." Varax nodded sullenly. "The Void Stalker. An ancient enemy of all life in the universe. It has been seeking the cosmic keystone, the artifact you now hold, for eons." Amelia looked down at the cube in her hands, its pulsing light seeming more ominous now. What exactly is this thing? And why does everyone want it so badly? "The cosmic keystone is a relic from the dawn of the universe," Varax explained. "It holds the power to reshape reality itself. In the right hands, it could bring about an age of unprecedented peace and prosperity. In the wrong hands—" "Let me guess," Amelia said dryly. "The end of everything as we know it." Varax's galactic eyes twinkled. "Precisely, which is why the Nexus exists, to safeguard the balance of the cosmos and prevent such power from falling into the wrong hands." Sixlith's scales rippled in a pattern Amelia now recognized as deep thought. Its translated words appeared. "Quilnari sought keystone, to protect. Now understand, bigger than us." Amelia's mind raced, trying to process the cosmic scale of the situation she'd stumbled into. So what do we do now? How do we stop this Void Stalker? Varax's expression grew grave. "The Void Stalker cannot be destroyed, only contained. For eons, it has been imprisoned in a pocket dimension. But now, thanks to your inadvertent activation of the keystone, that prison is weakening." "Great," Amelia muttered. "So this is our fault." "Not fault," Sixlith interjected. "Destiny, perhaps. Brought together for reason." Varax nodded. "Your Quilnari friend is wise. The universe works in mysterious ways. Perhaps it was no accident that brought a human and a Quilnari together, or that led you to the keystone." A thought struck Amelia. Wait a second. If this nexus of yours is so powerful, why don't you just take the keystone and deal with the Void Stalker yourselves? Varax's metallic skin rippled, an alien expression of what might have been embarrassment. The nexus is bound by ancient laws. We cannot directly interfere in such matters. We can only guide and assist those who have been chosen. Chosen? Amelia repeated incredulously. You've got to be kidding me. I'm just a scientist who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or perhaps, Varax countered, you were in exactly the right place at exactly the right time. Before Amelia could argue further, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. Varax's eyes widened in alarm. The Void Stalker, it hissed. It's found us. The chamber shuddered, and cracks began to appear in the sleek metal walls. Dark energy seeped through, bringing with it a bone-chilling cold. What do we do? Amelia shouted over the din. Varax moved swiftly to a console, its fingers flying over the controls. I'm opening a portal to a safe location. You must go now. Take the keystone and find the other chosen ones. Only together can you hope to defeat the Void Stalker and restore balance to the cosmos. Other chosen ones? Amelia repeated. How will we find them? The keystone will guide you, Varax said, as a new portal flickered to life. Trust in each other, and in the power within yourselves. The fate of the universe rests in your hands. Zixlith wrapped a protective limb around Amelia. Together, it said simply. Amelia nodded, her fear giving way to determination. Together, she agreed. As the chamber began to collapse around them, Amelia and Zixlith leaped through the portal, the cosmic keystone pulsing with renewed energy in Amelia's grasp. They emerged onto the surface of a strange new world, its twin suns casting an eerie purple light across a landscape of crystalline forests and floating islands. As the portal closed behind them, cutting off the sounds of destruction, Amelia took a deep breath of alien air. Well, Zixlith, she said, a wry smile tugging at her lips, I guess we've got a universe to save. Any idea where we start? Zixlith's veils shimmered with determination. Forward, it replied simply. Always forward. And with that, the unlikely pair, a human scientist and a Quilnari explorer, set off into the unknown, the fate of all existence resting on their shoulders. Their greatest adventure was only just beginning. Days blended into weeks as Amelia and Zixlith traversed a strange new world they'd found themselves on. The cosmic keystone, ever present in Amelia's pack, pulsed with increasing frequency as they journeyed, guiding them towards something or someone. They'd encountered wonders beyond imagination, floating cities of pure light, sentient clouds that communicated through patterns of rain, and forests where time flowed backwards. But they'd also faced perils, gravity storms that threatened to tear them apart, parasitic mists that fed on memories, and the ever-present shadow of the Void Stalker, always one step behind. You know, Amelia panted as they climbed a mountain of shifting crystal. When I signed up for a solo research mission, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. Zixlith's translator crackled with what Amelia had come to recognize as laughter. Life, full of surprises, especially with humans involved. As they reached the summit, both froze in awe. Before them stretched a vast plain, and at its center stood a colossal structure, a spiraling tower that seemed to pierce the very fabric of reality, its peak disappearing into a swirling vortex of cosmic energy. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Amelia said, and guess that's where we're headed. The keystone hummed in agreement, its glow intensifying. As they descended towards the plain, movement caught Amelia's eye. Two figures were approaching from different directions, one loping on multiple legs, the other gliding just above the ground. Zixlith, Amelia whispered, I think we found our fellow chosen ones. The newcomers came to a stop before them. One was a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and crackling with power. The other looked like a cross between a centaur and an insect, with an exoskeleton of iridescent chitin and compound eyes that reflected the starry sky. "Greetings, travelers," the energy being said, its voice resonating directly in Amelia's mind. "I am Zephyr, last of the Etheri." The insectoid creature clicked its mandibles before speaking. "And I am Crixexa, scout of the Hive Collective. We have been drawn here by a power we do not understand." Amelia stepped forward, holding out the keystone. "I think this might have something to do with it. I'm Amelia, from Earth, and this is Zixlith of the Quilnari. We've been told we're part of some cosmic chosen ones club." Zephyr's form pulsed with curiosity. "The legends speak of 4 who would unite to face the greatest threat to existence. It seems those legends have come to pass." Crixix's antennae twitched. But what threat could be so great as to require beings from across the universe to unite? As if in answer, the sky above them darkened. A rift tore open in the fabric of space, and through it poured a familiar, terrifying presence. The Void Stalker had found them. "That would be the threat," Amelia said grimly, readying herself for battle. The 4 unlikely allies stood their ground as the Void Stalker descended upon them, a maelstrom of dark energy and malevolent will. Its voice boomed across the plain, shaking the very ground beneath their feet. "Foolish creatures," it thundered. "You cannot AFOPE2 stand against the INUVI table. Surrender the TUISTONE, and I shall giant you the massoi of a quick oblivion." Zixlith's veils flashed defiantly. "Never," its translator crackled. "Protect life at all costs." Zephyr's energy form intensified. "We stand united against the darkness." Crixix's exoskeleton bristled with sharp protrusions. "The Hive Collective rejects your offer of oblivion." Amelia felt a surge of pride and determination as she stood with her alien companions. "What they said," she added with a grin. "Humanity's not big on surrender, especially when the fate of the universe is at stake." The Void Stalker roared in fury, lashing out with tendrils of dark energy. Amelia and her allies scattered, narrowly avoiding the devastating attack. "The tower," Zephyr called out. "We must reach its peak. Only there can we hope to seal the Void Stalker away once more." They ran towards the spiraling structure, dodging and weaving through the Void Stalker's relentless assault. Zixlith used its energy projections to deflect attacks, while Zephyr created dazzling light displays to confuse their enemy. Crix's natural agility allowed it to bound ahead, scouting the safest path. Amelia clutched the keystone tightly as they ascended the tower, its pulsing growing stronger with each step. The Void Stalker's attacks grew more frenzied, more desperate, as they neared the summit. Finally, they reached the top, emerging onto a platform suspended in the swirling vortex of cosmic energy. At the center stood an ancient altar, its surface carved with symbols that matched those on the keystone. "Now what?" Amelia shouted over the howling wind. Zephyr's voice resonated with urgency. "The keystone must be united with the altar. But beware, the resulting energy surge will be catastrophic. One of us must stay to ensure the connection is made." Amelia's heart sank as she realized the implication. A sacrifice was needed. The Void Stalker burst onto the platform, its dark essence roiling with hatred. "You will not deny me my destiny." Time seemed to slow as Amelia looked at her companions, beings from across the universe, brought together by fate and united in purpose. In that moment, she knew what she had to do. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady despite her fear. "I'll make the connection." Zixlith's translator crackled in protest, but Amelia silenced it with a look. "It has to be me. You all have people, civilizations to return to. I'm just one human, a long way from home." Before anyone could argue, Amelia sprinted towards the altar. The Void Stalker lunged for her, but her allies moved as one to intercept it. Zixlith, Zephyr, and Crixix threw themselves at the entity, using every ability at their disposal to hold it back. Amelia reached the altar and slammed the keystone into place. Energy exploded outward, enveloping her in a cocoon of pure cosmic power. She felt her very essence being pulled apart and reforged, becoming one with the universe itself. The Void Stalker howled in despair as reality itself began to warp around it. A new prison was forming, powered by the combined will of the Chosen Ones and Amelia's sacrifice. As her consciousness began to fade, merging with the cosmic energies, Amelia had one last thought. I guess this is one way to leave a mark on the universe. The tower exploded in a burst of blinding light, and then silence. The light faded and the dust settled. Where the towering spire had once stood, now there was only a crater, its edges smooth as glass. Zixlith, Zephyr, and Crixus are slowly uncurled from their defensive positions, their eyes adjusting to the sudden calm. Is it over? Crixus chittered, mandibles clicking nervously. Zephyr's energy form pulsed softly. The Void Stalker's presence. I can no longer sense it. It seems we were successful. But Zixlith's attention was elsewhere. Its multiple eyes scanned the crater frantically, scales flashing in distress. Amelia, its translator crackled. Where is Amelia? The three aliens spread out, searching the debris for any sign of their human companion. But there was nothing, no trace of Amelia, or the cosmic keystone remained. As the reality of Amelia's sacrifice sank in, a heavy silence fell over the group. They had saved the universe, but at what cost? Suddenly, a familiar voice broke the silence, tinny and distorted, but unmistakable. Hey guys, is this thing on? Can anyone hear me? Zixlith's scales lit up like a fireworks display. Amelia, alive, but where? The voice seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. So, funny story, Amelia's disembodied voice continued. Turns out, when you merge with cosmic forces beyond human comprehension, it does some pretty wild things to your physical form, or lack thereof. A shimmer appeared in the air, coalescing into a vague, humanoid shape composed of swirling stardust and twinkling lights. Tada, the Amelia-shaped constellation said, spinning in place. What do you think of the new look? I call it cosmic chic. Zixlith made a sound that the translator couldn't quite capture, something between a laugh and a sob. Amelia, you're different. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Amelia chuckled. Near as I can figure, I've become some sort of cosmic entity. Kind of like Zephyr here, but with more of a sense of humor. Zephyr's form rippled with what might have been indignation. I have a perfectly adequate sense of humor, thank you very much. Crixus's antennae twitched curiously. But what of the Void Stalker and the keystone? Amelia's starry form twinkled thoughtfully. The Void Stalker is contained, properly this time. As for the keystone, well, I guess you could say I'm the keystone now. Its power is a part of me, and I'm a part of it. So what happens now? Zixlith asked, its translator conveying a mix of awe and concern. Amelia's cosmic form shimmered with excitement. Now we've got the whole universe to explore and protect. I may not be human anymore, but I've still got my curiosity. And with my new, let's call them abilities, we can go places and see things no one has ever dreamed of. Zephyr's energy pulsed thoughtfully. The Nexus will need to be informed of these developments. They may have new tasks for us as guardians of cosmic balance. I must return to the Hive Collective, Crixus added. They'll want to know of our victory and of the alliances we have forged. Zixlith's scales rippled with determination. Quinari will spread word. Universe safer now. But still much to learn, much to discover. Amelia's stellar form brightened. Then let's not waste any time. The universe is waiting, and we've got front row seats to the greatest show in existence. With a thought, Amelia opened a swirling portal of cosmic energy. First stop, anywhere we want. Who's with me? Without hesitation, her alien companions stepped forward. They had started this journey as strangers from across the cosmos, thrust together by fate and necessity. Now, they were something more. Friends, allies, a team united by shared experience and mutual respect. As they stepped through the portal together, ready to face whatever new adventures awaited them, Amelia couldn't help but reflect on how far she'd come. She had left Earth as a lonely scientist, seeking knowledge among the stars. She was returning as something far greater, a cosmic entity, guardian of universal balance, with friends beyond imagining. The portal closed behind them, but the story of Amelia and her extraordinary companions was far from over. Across the vast expanse of the universe, new challenges awaited, new wonders were to be discovered, and new allies would be made. For in the end, this wasn't just a tale of saving the universe. It was a story of connection, of bridging the gaps between different worlds and species. It was proof that even in the face of cosmic threats, the power of friendship, courage, and human ingenuity could overcome any obstacle. As Amelia and her friends vanished into the cosmic tapestry, their legend began to spread. On countless worlds, beings of all kinds would tell the tale of the human who became a star, the aliens who defied destiny, and the unlikely teen that saved existence itself. And somewhere out there, in the infinite expanse of space and time, Amelia's laughter echoed among the stars, a reminder that no matter how vast and mysterious the universe might be, there would always be room for wonder, for growth, and for hope. The end, or perhaps just the beginning of a greater adventure,